G'day subscribers, today we've got a bumper edition to talk about accessories. You're with Jules Knight on Jive Talking Garage. So it's really good to see post-pandemic the world returning to normal, and I use that analogy because I've been to a swap meet the last 2 fortnights, and I must say the one down the Gold Coast at Mudgeeraba was really well attended, not only just from the people that showed up, but also a whole heap of sellers with some really good stuff. Now, let me just take you to the Accelerator magazine of November-December 1955. And what it's got in here is the fender markers. So these are the little guideposts that went either side of your guards, just to tell you where the edges of your car were. Viewers will have seen them on Project Julius. I had them on my Ute as well. I had 2 different types, but anyway, with that type, I was at a swap meet, the previous one, and this, let's just say, distinguished gentleman who's pretty much in it all for the money. He had fender markers for $450 each. This is what they look like. Now, this is a garden variety, barn find, fresh is best, hasn't been cleaned up. Now, with oil and steel wool, or Windex and steel wool, you know, this chrome will turn out really, really good. And you can just use some light detergent and washing liquid on this with a little scrubbing brush to get that right. I mean, for the princely sum of $30, I mean, compared to a pair for $450, I mean, really, you got to pick up accessories where you can, and the best time to do it is when you see them. So I grabbed that. Even though I've got 2, I thought, well, yeah, I can build me another set, so might be able to help someone down the road. But anyway, there we go. I saw it there, grabbed it, so I'm so pleased that things are starting to come out of the woodwork at swap meets, which is great. Now, I've been calling out the virtue of NASCO for years and years and years, and everyone has always seemed to like all the NASCO accessories that I put on my car. Now, I tell people Holden didn't make everything, and they didn't. But you'll see the horns are made by RVB. Now, on Jive Talking Garage, will see the catalogue that I've got, the RVB catalogue, where they clearly supply not only the little Roadrunner Mimi horns, but also, you know, the twin horns that just blast, which are really, really good. So if you need a horn, you have to have a relay. And so this is what they're looking like. So that's a relay. If you've got spotlights, you're going to need a relay. So, you know, RVB comes in all shapes and sizes. Now that one was painted, so you can see they come black, but I also got onto this one that's not painted as well, because I'm going to need another one. I've got one where my connection block comes out of the firewall, and then that gets replaced because I've got twin horns with a relay. So, you know, ordinarily this is the standard type relay. I really like this one because it's got a spare fuse down the bottom there. I mean, how good's that? As in a fuse there. Whereas this one, it's got 2 spares for RVB, 2 spares. So really you've got the fuse at the bottom, but you've got the 2 spares at the top, and I really like that. And as you can see, yeah, they get painted black, so that's fine. But they came in 6 and 12 volts, And some of the variations I like are, and they had really nice packaging with the yellow and red. You know, you can see this one. And they can be pretty exotic. I understand from seeing the, I think it was Richard's site, he was saying that they're also used on the GTs. I thought, okay, didn't know that. Thank you, Richard. Big call out to you. And so there's that type, this type as well. Just trying to keep it all together. Similar type of thing. You can see that, you know, the new old stockness of it. RVB, fantastic. But the one I really like is this one. How big's that one? So that's an absolute beauty, that one. So we're talking 12 volts there. So these range, you see them price-wise 120, 150. That seems to be the, you know, the point for relays, 150. So, you know, nice piece of kit. And really it's a matter of, you know, grabbing these when you see them, because if you want to add accessories, well, you really need a relay so that you can run electrically everything that you need to through your switching through to your appliance. Now let's talk about switches for a moment. Now I think I grabbed these from Richard, actually, to mention him again, and I really liked this type of, like, I've got switches up the bazooka, but I really liked this type, and that was primarily because you know, I like the different colours. I think I've got about 4 or whatever, and they were all very, very similar and whatever. I just thought, yeah, I've got to get me some of them. So, like a lot of things, you grab it when you see it. So, switches, twin horns, RVB relays. We're getting into it. So, a lot to cover tonight. I'm running it tonight, so let's talk about that. So, now I got these standard reflectors. Now they're nothing flash. I haven't even hit them with the paint stripper yet. But standard issue on FJ Holden Army Ute. This is the type that they used. It's even got the little, you know, General Motors Holden stamp in there. I mean, how good's that? You see them advertised in the book. They don't, in the book, they don't stipulate them as what RPO they are for, you know, regular production option, but most certainly they fall within the specification of the Army Ute. And I know that there's some Army Ute stuff getting done right now. I know that there's two very close to being on the road. One's getting roadworthy this week, and another one is getting the son of the original tarp maker making the tarps at the moment. So yeah, lots going on in the Army Ute space. So that's great. So look, let's keep moving on, shall we? Now, another thing that I got at the swap meet, and I love this, I picked it up, it was cheap as chips really, was this little spanner set. Now, some of these are traditionally known as an ignition set, but you know, this one's an Imperial one, And I already have a Sid Chrome one of these, but I thought this was just fantastic. So I thought, yeah, look, I've got to get me some of that. So when the opportunity came, I grabbed it. So thank you, Majurabar. Really good stuff. I was most impressed this year. So it's the first time I've been there, and I was having a look out for my mate Joe, because he's always after V-dub stuff, combis and whatever. And yeah, I just let you know where some things were, but that's fine. Now, let's talk about two other make accessories. Now, you didn't really see a taco on a Holden until the Monaro came out with the HK, with the, you got a standard taco. So what are we talking? 67, 68 in there. Smith's taco, that one is. Nothing flash, just a really nice piece of kit. And it was really poorly placed down on the console. So you actually, to see what revs you were doing, you'd take your eyes off the road to look down where your shifter is. That wasn't good. However, 1964 and a half, 1965 Mustang, they were bringing out the rally pack. So this rally pack has got a clock in it, and also RPM counter, rev counter. And as you can see here, this sat on your steering column. Now, if they were ordered standard at time of purchase, so your car was made with it, this would have an 8,000, 8,000 RPM gauge on it. Whereas if you bought this and had it fitted on day 2, so when you picked it up, it would come with a 6,000 tacho. This was all camera case black. I painted it white because the one I intended for it to go on, it was white. But, the nice thing is nothing's cut and whatever. But that's a lovely little piece of kit. But the point I'm trying to show is 1965, we had a HD. 1965, America had a Mustang. They're the sorts of accessories, by comparison, Australia had versus America. And there was no comparison. This is really impressive, serious kit. So that's the Rally Pack. And it's pack without a K. P-A-C, Rally Pack. Okay, so that's one of somebody else's accessory. Now, I really like this. Now, at Christmas, my son Nathan gave me a picnic set. He said, "Dad, what would you like for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, I'm planning to go to the Nationals. How about you get me a picnic set?" Sure enough, a picnic set came in the delivery from Santa. But what I did was, I had gone and I had bought this little piece of kit from Mopar. So Mopar, Chrysler, whatever. And this is for my picnic set. Now, in the 60s, picnic sets were obviously a dime a dozen, but they had those anodized coloured aluminium tumblers. So I'm on the lookout for some of those. But I thought this would be really good with it. And so when this popped up, I grabbed it and I really like this because when you pull it apart for your picnic set, it's a knife and fork. And I thought, how good's that? I thought that was just beyond brilliant. And they just fold into one another. You can see the little slot there and the same on that one. So it's a matter of just, lining everything up, putting it all back into place, and then after you've finished washing it and cleaning it, goes back in your picnic basket. I'm thinking, thank you, Nathan. Sounds great to me. But anyway, so that's the Chrysler Mopar Simca picnic knife and fork, and I really like that. Now, I note from one of the brake places at the moment, what they're supplying is the concertina boot at the end of the master cylinder. So I've asked them to actually give us the the dome shape, which is original for a 48 and an FJ. So I'm waiting for those to come back in stock. The catalogue shows it being in stock. However, when they've been on the shelf, they don't have stock left there. So they've actually been picked incorrectly and sent to Australia for when we've imported them with the wrong boot. So the boot shouldn't be a concertina like this. And when I say concertina, concertina means folding inwards. It should just be a cone. So hopefully we'll have cone boots soon. So that's good. Now, I did get a delivery from Presley, and I really, really like this. And this is most definitely for my FJ, which is the whisk broom. How cool is that? I'm just loving that idea. The little whisk broom, I'll have that, my little poly mop, and should be really good. But thanks, Presley, for that. I really appreciate you helping me out with that type of thing. So I really like that. But I was talking to one of our group experts, Scotty Too Hotty, and he has a red and black car. So I suggested a set of these for him because I'm going to use these. Now, these are the peaks that go over the headlights. Now, they're not the metal type that are going to cut somebody in half if anyone jumps out in front of you. These are just a little plastic set of ornaments. They're a bit flexy, do the job. And I just thought, well, that should look quite nice on the front of my little green FJ, and that will do the job. Scott thought I really liked those too. He's into smart things as well, so that sounds pretty good to me. Now, we're on the home run now. We've only got a few more things to go. Now, with the standard FJs, and when standard, I'm talking 215, standard sedan, 217, business sedan, the ute, and the panel van, we're talking white or ivory, buttons, choke cable, headlight switch, knob, and also handbrake. So they're available if you can get them. Like, I'm quite lucky because they're just original ones, so that's not bad. So I'm pretty lucky about those two. But you can get them at the moment reproduced, and I think that's probably the way to go into the future. So ivory is going to make a resurgence. Back in the old days, when we're doing cars in the 80s and 90s, you just had to hang out for new old stock, and thank goodness we had people like John Rayner who would grab things for us and just wait for us to come into the shop, and he'd say, I've been waiting for you, I've got some stuff here for you. Anyways, some of the other things that I've been putting away include Fram decals for the 48 air cleaner, bit of a NASCO decal, some Champion stuff, just for when the time comes to make sure that not only things work the part but look the part as well, because I just like them finished off properly. So yeah, look, it's just a matter of going the extra mile. I do have a new delivery of some NASCO stickers for twin horns. I've got a little bit of sandblasting to do, and then I've got to do some painting on them. I finished off the starter motor, the generator. Got a little bit of touch up on the generator to do, but then I did my own. So I couldn't believe it today. The Brains Trust even liked it, and I think they're going to go 4-brush starter motor as well. So I thought, wow, who would have thought? So we've got that happening. Now, the other thing in stock is a bit heavy, Kingpin assembly. So These are a bit of a meaty subject. Grease nipples there and there. So for the uninitiated, these are like an axle, front axle, wheel here, wheel bearings there, wheel spins, grease, bearings, Bob's your uncle. So you'll see in a scrutineering task, people will be doing the judging for scrutineering, and so they're getting the wheel and they're rocking it sideways to see if there's movement in the bearing, and then up and down to see if there's any movement in the kingpins. Like, these are all done, so there is no movement, but generally speaking, for things that are worn, it would pop up in here. So that's why you see them doing the backwards and forwards, and then the up and down. That's the up and downs for kingpin play, and the side to side is for the any play in the wheel bearings. But one more thing. Now, I like trying to do things smart when I'm putting a car back together, and I just don't go higgledy-piggledy. I put a lot of time, effort, and thought into it, and I talk to a lot of people that I know and trust. And one of the things I'm going to do with the back of my FJ is, because my car is one of the tourer cars, as in a panel wagon, where the roof turret rib goes across in the back, I'm going to install this small panel. I removed this from a ute, and in a ute this was such that you can have this and the FJ Holden, or 48 or FJ Holden, overhead light goes snugly into it. So I'm going to, where the section is, I'm going to put this up here and I'm going to measure it properly. And so therefore I'm going to zap the existing that side, zap the existing that side, put this into place, and then I'm going to MIG this in. I'll just use my MIG to do that. And then, so this light is actually a special, because it has one for a courtesy wire and one for a normal power wire, because it's already earthed. But that's the reason for these. So we'll be running this one at the front, and the single element that's in the front, I'll move that to the back. So I'll have power to the back, so it can be turned on at the back, and this one can be turned on at the front or turned on with a courtesy switch. And by doing it this way, because I've got the full overhead hood lining in it, it should look pretty smart. And not only that, I would like it to look as though that's how it came out of the factory way back when. So wow, big night. Sorry, a lot of talking, a lot of showing, lots of things happening there. Sorry to be boring and a talk fest. However, we've talked about RVB, we've talked about horns, we've talked about relays, we've talked about switches, we've talked about brooms, we've done the rally pack, we've done the ignition spanners, we've done the concertina boot, we've talked about decals, we've talked about the tacho, we've talked about the ivory knobs on an FJ. So look, a lot of ground covered. We haven't done a Jive talking for a little while, so I've probably gotten a lot out there. Sorry it's taken so long. However, a lot in it for you for today. If you've got some more questions and you want some things talked about or whatever, just drop me a line. It's never a drama, I don't mind. But in the meantime, don't forget to share, like and subscribe, but more importantly, enjoy your Holden.